Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. I have appointed you a prophet to the nations." There are at least three different ways to study Scripture. The first way is a devotional interpretation. For example, before I formed you, I knew you. Before I formed you. That tells us something about God. That tells us that He is the life giver. That means that He is the one who does the forming. And what's amazing is He uses a natural process in this to make that happen, but then He breathes life into it. But He says that before I formed you, I knew you. That means that there is no birth that is done by accident. There is no pregnancy that happens by accident, regardless of the situation, because He said, before I formed you, I knew you. He already had a plan for you before mom and dad ever conceived you. And then that forming in the womb is the beginning of that plan. Now, if you want to go deeper into that study, what you would do is look up the original Hebrew or the Greek if it's in the New Testament. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can just go online many times and look and say, what's the Hebrew word for this? There is a website called blueletterbible.org that also you can go in and just type in a scripture and go and click and it'll tell you what the original Hebrew word is. A lot of times when you do that, you're going to find a deeper meaning than just what the English word means, right? So you're going to find something a little deeper. So as an example of this, just the words, I knew you, yadatika. And I want to take that word taka, the last part of it first. So that word taka is actually made up of two parts. T, which means I, and ka, which means you. And what we find here is that this verse is a story. Jesus is the subject and you are the object. And in that is this beautiful story within this verse of a relationship between God and you. And it's all contained within one word, taka. Now, if you want to go even deeper, one recommendation I have is to do a study on what's called the Paleo-Hebrew. Let me back up just a little bit. Every word, every letter, every number in Scripture is there by deliberate design. God didn't have fillers. He didn't say, oh, well, I just got to put something here. Well, I'll just throw something in there. And He has a purpose, just like having a purpose for every person that's born. He has a purpose for every word that is in that Scripture. Have you ever wondered why God put some weird detail in the Scripture, like, for example, the number of people that were involved in a battle, or the name of some obscure person, some scribe or some court help or something like that? Honestly, the story would be the same without that detail in there. So why did God choose to put that detail in there? Well, when you start digging down deeper, you're going to find that there's a little nugget in there that means something. He inserted that in there for a specific reason. And one of the most fascinating ways to dig into those reasons is in the Paleo-Hebrew. The Paleo-Hebrew is the original Hebrew script. When we read the books of Moses or we read the Psalms, we read about David, those letters, those cuneiforms were written in a form called Paleo-Hebrew. And Paleo-Hebrew is a pictograph. It's related more to hieroglyphics than it is to the modern day Hebrew writing that we have today. That modern day Hebrew writing really came into play after they came out of Babylon. But before that, most everything was written in Paleo-Hebrew. And Paleo-Hebrew is a script where every letter has a meaning. Every letter is a picture that tells a story. So, for example, the word father, or Ab, is made up of two letters. It's made up of Aleph and Bet. Aleph in the Paleo-Hebrew is the picture of an ox head. It's kind of weird, but it's the picture of an ox head, and that is representing strength. Bet means house, and you know that. Bet Lechem, house of bread, Bethlehem, right? So Bet means house, and it looks like a tent. The way that it's drawn out in the Paleo-Hebrew, it looks like a tent. So when you put the two words together, it means strength and house. The strength of the house. Well, who's the strength of the house? The Father, the Ab. So the Paleo-Hebrew gives us even a deeper meaning into the individual letters. So now I want to go to that first word, new, Yada. That's the Hebrew word. And Yada is made up of three different letters, Yod, Dalet, Ayin. Yod means hand. And this is fascinating because what we find in Scripture is, especially in the Old Testament, when there's a reference to a hand, it's a kind of a hidden code for Jesus. So for example, in Isaiah 41:10, he says that I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. In Psalms 118:16, it says, the right hand of the Lord does valiantly. Isaiah 48:13 says, surely my hand has founded the earth. And that's interesting because we find in John chapter 1 verse 3, it says that he created everything. Jesus is the one who created everything. So who is the one who founded the earth? It was Jesus. So Isaiah 48:13 and John 1:3 go hand in hand together. Isaiah 48:13, my hand has founded the earth. There's a little secret in there. And then that secret is revealed in John 1:3. Jesus is a creator of everything. Psalms 110:1 says, set at my right hand. And then when we get to Hebrews 1:3, it actually cites that scripture when it's talking about Jesus. It says that Christ sat down at the right hand of the majesty on high. So the hand in this reference is Jesus himself. And the second word is Dalet. And Dalet is the shape of a door, and it means door. And this sort of has two different meanings to it. So the first meaning is absolutely a direct reference to Jesus Christ. In John 10:7, Jesus says, I am the door of the sheep. And then he repeats that again in verse 9 where he says, I am the door. If anyone enters in through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. And that kind of relates to the second part of the meaning of that word. A door is not just one way, it's two ways, especially in the context of Jeremiah 1:5, because we find that yes, Jesus is the way. He is our door. He is our entrance way. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, right? But it also shows that God uses Jesus as the door into us. And that's how he knows us. And that's how he knows everything about us. That word, Yada. And that naturally leads into the third letter, which is Ayin. And Ayin is the shape of an eye, and that means to see. But it doesn't just mean to see something. It means to understand. It means to perceive. It's something way deeper than just seeing something. It's looking into something and discovering. So putting it all together, we see that Jesus, the hand, is the one who has established a door between you and him, between you and God. And in that door, he is able to peer in and see you, and see you in ways that even you don't know about yourself, and reveals things to you. So now all of a sudden we see this picture of this word Yada that means something way more than just intellectual knowledge. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. I have appointed you a prophet to the nations. I doubt you'll ever look at Jeremiah 1:5 the same way again.